We should be live. Welcome back, everybody, to another live stream repair. Let's get that other camera angle up and working here. There we go. Awesome. So, as I was saying, welcome to another live stream repair. We've got ourselves two HomePods in for repair today. If you haven't noticed, the past few days have been relatively calm and quiet here. Haven't had too many showing up. We've had a couple of days in the weekday that we haven't had any show up, and then we'll turn around and we'll have like 4 to 6 show up in the same day along with 2 locals for drop-off. So it can be pretty inconsistent, but I will take the days where none come in, where where I can get them and have a little bit of a break. Alright, so as I said, we've got 2 HomePods here today. First one is from Bryan, and it's got no power. And then we've got a second one that was sent in from Korea from Kim, and it's also got no power. So let's crack open a drink, start some quick testing, and see what we've got going on. Okay, so before we start any repairs, let's just plug this into power and double check our symptoms here. So sure enough, no response, and we're getting about 6 watts of power being pulled from the wall. So most likely the common shorted diode on the amplifier going on here, based on the amount of power we saw being drawn at the wall, which of course requires full disassembly, as do most repairs. Let's get this taken apart. Alright, and for some reason my phone, there we go. Very nice. Let's begin. There we go. Top is off. Oh, hey, what's up, Doc? Welcome to the stream. Not sure how long you've been here. Just noticed ya. Same. No, I've got a couple on the shelf that I bought for myself broken, just waiting for me to muster up the energy to fix for myself. But aside from that, I'm doing good. Woofer check. Voice coil looks good. Feels nice and smooth. It smells great. main attraction for today. Alright, if we take a closer look at that bad boy right there, literally and figuratively. Where is my multimeter? Ah. Let's get that turned on into continuity test mode. Excuse me. Make sure we get actual beeping when we touch the probes together. There we go. And then let's check and see if this diode is good or if it's shorted out and bad. Yep, that diode is shorted out. Not sure why we bother even checking. I guess we just like to be sure. Let's get that nasty old diode pulled off and replace it with a new one. My solder. I left it in the freaking... Oh, I think I've got some more right here. Did we get lucky? I think I left my main stash in the garage. But I've got some of this other stuff I used to use here that should work just as well. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's flex up that board. And that's going pretty crooked there. Oh boy. There we go. Once that solder melts, it should correct itself for the most part. There we go. Magic. Alright, we've got a pretty big tumor on our mat here. That's alright. Oh, that's hot. Once it cools down, these mats usually, if you've exposed them to too much heat, usually they flatten back out again. Alright. Let's give this board just a good amount of time to cool off here, and then we will test and see if it powers on without a problem. I want to check and of course see that it powers on, and that it's got nice healthy bass without any DC offset. There we go. Let's grab their power supply. And let's see if we've got power. Yeah, it's powering on. Now, while that's booting up, let's grab our multimeter here, stick that into DC voltage mode, and then we're going to connect our multimeter to the subwoofer here, so that way after this amplifier boots up, we can wake it up and check it for, of course, healthy bass without any DC offset issues. And wow, alright, this one's holding at around 2 millivolts. I am perfectly happy with that. Anything below 10 millivolts is what I call a perfect score. Anything below 50 millivolts is really what we aim to send all of the HomePods back as. If I see anything more than 50 millivolts or I see the offset drastically growing, then that warrants replacing the filtering capacitors on the back side. But, you know, anything around 50 millivolts isn't going to cause any problems either. It's usually once you start reaching past 300 millivolts where you start really noticing the popping sound more, and it's accompanied with other issues like crackling in the bass, death farts, what have you. But this is a happy amp. And on the plus side too, if for whatever reason I misjudge, or hey, let's say even the amplifier does not have any DC offset whatsoever, and we repair it for no power, and 2 months later it starts having DC offset issues. Well, I include that in the 6-month warranty. So if you send your HomePod in for repair, regardless of what you're sending it in for repair for, we just do our usual checks all over the whole thing just to make sure it's all in good working order. So if you send it in for no power, we're going to check it for DC offset too. If you send it in for DC offset issues, we're also going to check and most likely replace the diode that usually causes no power failures as well. We pretty much do essentially the same repairs for every single HomePod that comes in. We do the same diagnosis, we do the same component repair or component replacements, with a few exceptions, and that's why I'm comfortable with also giving a 6-month warranty on all of our repairs. So if you send it in for no power or you send it in for death fart repairs, and 3 to 5 months down the road it's got something else going on with it, I'm more than happy to take a look again and get it fixed back up for you. And we just go ahead and replace and test for all the common issues that we have encountered when we get them in our hands and get them apart. figure that's the best way to do it too, because honestly, at the end of the day, trying to nickel and dime people over a warranty, a quote unquote warranty. Let's say that somebody sends their HomePod in for no power repairs, and we fix it for the no power issue, and we plug it into a multimeter, and we verify that not only does it power on, but it doesn't have any DC offset issues at the time. So we have no reason to replace the filtering capacitors, and everything is testing within spec. So we fix it, we send it back to them, and then 3 months later they say, hey, it's starting to pop really loud and have death farts. Trying to explain to people, most people, the correlation or lack thereof, any correlation. Well, you just can't always get everybody to understand things. So it's best to just, a 6 months warranty. Anything goes wrong with it, aside from the known unfixable issues that, like blinking volume buttons, if we fix your HomePod and it has blinking volume buttons, 6 months down the road, there's nothing we can really do about that, and there's, nothing that our repairs would have done that would have exacerbated that or caused that. So, but we pretty much just, anything goes wrong with it aside from that, just send it back in and we'll get it fixed up again for you. Now, seem to be missing a screw. Not sure where that went for the amplifier. Not sure how that could have gone missing. It's okay, we've got some spares. We've got lots of spare screws, actually. Yeah, if you ever need any screws, just shoot me an email and we'll send you some over just for the cost of postage, nothing more. I'm swimming in screws, man. Take them. Take my screws. Excuse me. I apologize. It's uncalled for. that goes. Goodbye. Welcome back. Ah. No! 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 We're good. You got him. My hand is cramping like a bitch. Oh. Can we make it last one? Ah. Urge. Very nice. That'll do. I'm happy with that. Who's watching? Who's here? Who's alive? Who's got a keyboard or touchscreen with a signed in YouTube account that can say hi in the chat? I know how many of you are watching. But I don't know who. Well, that's all out. Let's see if we've got Bryan's HomePod all fixed up and ready to go. Drum roll, please. Booyah.
Having trouble connecting to the internet. For more, I'm having...
All right. Everything's checking out. No popping. We got nice bassy Siri, and our volume buttons light up nice and even. So Bryan's HomePod is all fixed up. Let's move on to Kim's HomePod with no power. I know some people are more interested in the various boxes than others, so here you go. Here's a Korean HomePod box for you. Not that there's anything you can do with the serial number there, so I'm not going to bother worrying about that, but there you go. Let's see. I wonder if this is... I wonder if they use a different power cable. Not that it would stop us from effectively diagnosing and repairing, diagnosing and repairing this bad boy. Oh, it's just a regular US power cable. Alright. Neat. Oh, that's right. I'm pretty sure they use 110 volts over there anyways. That feels thicker, though. Why does that feel thicker? Am I just fucked up from that one beer? I need another power cable for comparison. And where's my calipers? I had a set of calipers. But where did they go? I must know. This cable is definitely thicker than the usual cable. Where's my calipers? Oh, I found them. Cool. Okay, so a normal HomePod power cable is only about 5 millimeters thick, and their power cable is 5.7 millimeters thick. Interesting. I also notice the plastic on the power cable end here, slightly different texture. Well, they are different model numbers too. Interesting. I've never that's thick. That is thick, man. Sorry, I had to check that. I knew that felt thick. Sorry if I'm obsessing over that, but I mean, if you guys couldn't tell, I'm kind of obsessed with HomePods, so any tiny little difference between them, I'm gonna pick up immediately. And I want to know more about the variance in these power cables here, because apparently this is an original Apple power cable that came with this HomePod, right? It's thicker. It's 0.7 millimeters thicker than any of the other power cables that I've seen so far. And then you've also got these rubber power cables. These are the Canadian ones. And the Canadian ones are only different in their plug shape here. It's round instead of like this rectangle. And also it's rubber. So I don't know. Lots of questions here. Oh yeah, and yeah, this is the rubber one here. The Canadian power cable for HomePods is what I use for most of my tests because, well, two reasons. One, it's black, so any crap or shmoo that gets dragged upon it and onto it on the table here, it'll easily hide. And two, well, it's fully rubber, so it's really easy for me to clean this off and keep it clean. Whereas these normal power cables for the HomePods here, they've got this mesh fabric on them, so obviously dragging that around my bench enough times will start to fray that mesh, and it'll pick up dirt and stuff easier than that rubber one. But man, that's a thick power cable. I'm jealous. I'm jealous, Kim. Anyways, let's move on to what we were actually sent here to do. And that's fixing this HomePod's no power. Let's get our text updated here. For all the folks watching. And let's plug this into power and check its symptoms. So they said it's got no power. And indeed, we've got no power and no power draw because we've got our power cable disconnected here. So let's plug that in. And we've got about 4 watts of power draw, 3 watts of power draw. No signs of life. 3 watts of power draw. That seems a little low for a shorted diode, but most likely that's probably what's going on here. Alright, I think we've oogled over their power cable enough here. Let's go ahead and tear this apart. See what's going on inside. Alright, got that off easy peasy. Ow. Bullocks. There we go. Actually, that came apart real easy. Oh, yeah. That's what I like to see. Come on up now. Easy peasy. We don't want to cause any drama here. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Woofer check. Feels good. Looks good. Smells good. Happy woofer. Come on. There we go. Let's clean up some of that adhesive on there. I know that's gonna keep it from sitting nice. There we go. That'll do. Alright, folks, the main attraction. What we all came here for. That. Ooh, it looks toasty, too. Let's go ahead and replace that. See if this is the only thing wrong with this amplifier, keeping it from powering on. If this was you doing your own repairs, I would suggest testing that this diode is actually shorted out first with your multimeter before just jumping into the replacement. But based on our personal experience here, repairing over 200 of these bad boys at this point, and also the fact that we replace this diode in all of our repairs regardless of what they come in for, we're going to go ahead and just replace this and then see if this board powers on. Like I said, if you were doing this yourself, I would recommend testing with a multimeter if this was actually the source of your short first, until you get more familiar with these sort of repairs. But when you're first starting off, I always suggest testing your parts before just firing the parts cannon at it, you know? Same thing with cars. You don't just buy a replacement part because the code scanner tells you, well, this code says the O2 sensor's not in spec anymore, and that doesn't necessarily mean your O2 sensor's bad, needs to be replaced. There could be a handful of other things that are causing that code to come up, so. But just like a mechanic shop, you start to get experience based on what you see in all of your repairs and what common symptoms you see based on what part specifically failed, and you start to get that instinct, that gut feeling. And our gut says that this diode is the problem. So we're going to replace that. See if we're right first try. And let's get some solder onto that new diode before we put it on. Hey! That's all there is to it. Let's cool this board off real fast and then we can test it. That'll do. And here we go. Yeah. And then while we're at it, let's go ahead and power our multimeter on. That's already connected to our subwoofer. That's connected to our amplifier. We'll see if we've got any DC offset when this board boots up. Alright, what do we got? Alright, we've got functional base, and again, we've got an excellent offset measurement result here of about 2 to 3 millivolts. So again, under 10 millivolts is what I call a perfect score. Under 50 millivolts is where we try to keep things. If it's above 50 millivolts, that's what usually warrants us replacing those capacitors. And then above 300 millivolts is where you can start seeing actual damage occur and death fart behavior. So this one is well within specification. So all happy and ready to go. Let's get it put back together in its shell, and we'll be all done for the day. Oh man, the ADHD's coming out. Hey Tony, welcome to the stream. How can I help you? So Tony asks, have you ever heard of issues with the OG HomePods when running as a stereo pair that they don't always both output sound and only one emits volume? Yes, I have. I, to this day, personally still experience this issue. And when I look at my Wi-Fi, sometimes what I kind of see is usually one HomePod's connected to one Wi-Fi node and the other HomePod's connected to a different node. So that I've noticed definitely causing issues. Also, it just happens. I've accepted that there are a number of software bugs with these things that no amount of hardware repairs will be able to fix. And the only real resolution to it is just giving it the old power cycle. And it's kind of frustrating because I've spent hundreds of dollars on making a very substantial Wi-Fi network to support my HomePods. I've done everything that Apple could possibly suggest and recommend to give these the best possible chance of working perfectly. And at the end of the day, I just cannot get them working flawlessly. Maybe one day they'll work fine, but the next day they'll just suddenly give me issues. So yes, I have seen the stereo pair issue where one of them just suddenly isn't putting any sound out. And usually what I do to fix that is just simply power them both off and back on after about 10 seconds. It's quite annoying. And I believe I've experienced this ever since, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, 2031, 2032, 2033, 2034, 2035, 2036, 2037, 2038, 2039, 2040, 2041, 2042, 2043, 2044, 2045, 2046, 2047, 2048, 2049, 2050, 2051, 2052, 2053, 2054, 2055, 2056, 2057, 2058, 2059, 2060, 2061, 2062, 2063, 2064, 2065, 2066, 2067, 2068, 2069, 2070, 2071, 2072, 2073, 2074, 2075, 2076, 2077, 2078, 2079, 2080, 2081, 2082, 2083, 2084, 2085, 2086, 2087, 2088, 2089, 2090, 2091, 2092, 2093, 2094, 2095, 2096, 2097, 2098, 2099, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009 I had stereo pairs for the past year or so. What did I say about Wi-Fi mode? What I was saying was sometimes when I log into my Wi-Fi routers, I've got Ubiquiti gear, so I can log into one interface that sees everything connected to both of my access points. And for whatever reason, sometimes my Ubiquiti stuff will forget that I had permanently assigned X HomePod to X Wi-Fi node. And what'll happen is in a stereo pair, well, okay, so I've got two Wi-Fi nodes in my house. I've got one in my hallway and I've got one in the living room. So, half the house connects to the living room and the other half of the house connects to the hallway. Basically, it depends on whichever access point the device is closest to at that given point in time. Considering my HomePods aren't moving anywhere, what I did was I logged into my Ubiquiti management console and I assigned each HomePod to a specific access point and told it to stay on that access point, based on which access point the HomePod was actually closest to. And what I notice is sometimes I log into my Unify console after I notice issues with my stereo pairs, and for whatever reason, my Unify management console will have forgotten that I had statically assigned a HomePod to a specific access point, and I'll have, with two HomePods in a stereo pair right next to each other, one HomePod connected to my access point right next to me, and the other HomePod connected to the access point on the other side of the house. And of course, after I power cycle it, it'll connect to the right access point and everything works as expected again. So I'm not sure if ultimately that is a Wi-Fi or a connectivity issue, or if there's just something else going on and the HomePod just needs a power cycle in order to function again. But I've tried my best to give the best environment possible for my HomePods to work perfectly, and you can't. Seems like you can't really do it. At least with the number of HomePods that I've got. But hey, if all it takes is a power cycle every week or so for these things to continue otherwise working flawlessly for me, then I can't really complain a whole lot. But at the same time, it's like, come on. It's like you're halfway through a jam session with the whole house bumping, and half of it just drops out, and you're like, come on. Really kills the mood. Okay, let's see if we've got Kim's HomePod all fixed up and ready to go. Here's our power cable. Drum roll, please. Nice. Wait for that to boot up. And let's check it for
インター
sound.
ネットの接続に問題が起きています。
Very good.
インター
Volume buttons light up nice and even. Excuse me. So, both HomePods sent in today. We got them all fixed up without a problem. Pretty standard set of repairs here. Both cases just needed a new diode replaced on the amplifier, and no DC offset anywhere to be seen on either unit. So, that's it. That's all I've got for you guys today. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it down in the comments. I also suggest, if you're doing your own HomePod repairs, to check out my website, nixfix.com. That's where I've got all of the common issues and repairs that we do on our channel here, including the parts that we use to do these repairs. if also instead you'd rather send your HomePod in to be repaired here on the channel, I've got my contact info up on my website there. Hope you all enjoyed this live stream repair, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.